It's Tuesday Wrestling, and you all know what that means. That means once again we have NWA Powerrr, where it features Pick Your Poison match. Who will win between these two hated tag teams? Will it be, of course, Yabo the Clown, or will it be Mecha Wolf? That's something we'll find out. We even have, of course, Maxie Impaler putting her women's television title on the line, and we even have a number one contendership for the national championship against Thrillbilly Silas. So we'll see what happens throughout the entirety of the show. But also, as you know, we're only 1 week away for NXT to head out to, of course, Halloween Havoc. Anything could go from here on out. However, there is a number one contendership for the NXT championship taking place. But we cannot forget the very thing we are definitely going to see is the Bada Bing, Bada Boom tag team battle royal that Cody set up a week ago. We'll see who will be the winners to walk out to face the family at Halloween Havoc. That is something we're definitely going to be seeing. But first things first, we have, of course, Stardom with their show in Saitama. This is a day prior before day one of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. So nothing too big on this particular show, but however, the ending is kind of very interesting. We definitely going to be talking about just a little bit. And of course, we got a couple of news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are going to be set, any wrestlers have been either signed or departing from their respective promotions. Of course, we have some injured wrestlers if they've been announced, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Lead It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Lead It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Jay right here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of daily reviews on pro wrestling shows from anywhere in the world. Not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere where wrestling is not as big, but it is growing. We also do some discussion videos, do some news updates, alerts, various other things. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us, to our channel, and of course, you'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool stuff we'll be throwing in this channel. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment down below. Now let's get started with our very first review. Now this is from Stardom and Saitama, where of course this was a day before the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League has begun. Now, of course, certain wrestlers were not even present at the time. I don't know what's the situation, but let's get started. Our very first match, we have a couple of high speedsters. We have Fukigen Death versus Koguma. Now, you probably ask yourselves, why do I say they're high speedsters? Well, Fukigen Death is a high speedster. You may have seen her how she is. However, she's facing someone who's a bit more clever and a bit of a thief and likes to play a little game of her little bear, and that is, of course, Koguma. So basically, Koguma, as you know, would try to do not dirty tricks, but more of try to get them to play along with the bear dance. However, that was the case until, of course, Koguma applied the Kuma roll to pick up the win. I'm sure Fukigen Death is not happy, but of course, Koguma is excited that she won this match. Our next match, we have Hanako versus Mina Shirakawa. I know that Hanako has teamed up with Mina and Waka in the past. She has been one of those wrestlers that I've seen hangs out with Club Venus at the time. Now, I'm going to put this right now. I'm starting to think something else. The thing is, Mina Shirakawa did stated that there will be a new member joining Club Venus, and This time it will be a Japanese member instead. Now keep in mind, Club Venus is more where they introduce like foreigners, but many of their foreign wrestlers, as you know, recently Mariah May just returned to the UK to take some time off to be with her family. There's still no telling when she'll be back with Stardom, but we do know that AEW does have an interest in her. But however, what does this mean for Club Venus, who will be their next new member? Mina Shirakawa did say there's going to be a new member, but this time a Japanese member. And a part of me likes to think it's Hanako because since she's been hanging out with them. That's something that I haven't seen just yet. But, however, that is still a thought. However, Hanako, as you know, she does have a bit of at least experience in wrestling. But, however, she is a bit taller. You know, very athletic, even though not to mention she beat out Lady C for being the tallest person. But, of course, Mina experience outweighs her when she applied an implanted DDT onto the figure four leg lock, my bad. She put the figure four leg lock, and of course she gave her a pat on the back of her head, knowing that she did a pretty good job. But like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Hanako is the newest member of Club Venus. That's something I'm definitely thinking it could be a possibility. So don't hold your breath on that, and neither would I until something happens. Now, our next match, we have a tag team action. We got Queen's Quest, Miyu Amasaki and Lady C taking on star members Zuki and Mayu Iwatani. Now, as you know, this is the duo between. I know that Mayu Amasaki and Lady C have teamed up on various occasions, so that would make sense. But however, as you know, the tag league is going to be different for both of them. But however, Azuki and Mayu is a different story. As you know, Mayu is the leader. Azuki is kind of her second in command in somewhat, since both of them are inbred in stars. But I figured that this match would definitely go with both Azuki and Mayu in every aspect. But in fact, it was the diving senton by Azuki to to Lady C to pick up the win. Next up, we have a very interesting match. We have Oedo ties consistent of Ruka, Momo Watanabe, and Natsuko Tora taking on Megan Bayne, Zuzu Suzuki, and Mei Seira. So nothing significant on this one, but however, if I'm Oedo Tai, I know you definitely would try to take out the biggest threat in the ring, and that threat is none other than Megan. So that would always be a bigger threat. But however, I know that Natsuko Tora hasn't forgotten the loss that she suffered towards Suzuki at the 5-star Grand Prix. But however, that didn't do any good for this match for Oedo Tai because it was Megan Bayne who applied the choke bomb onto Ruka to pick up the win. Our next match, this is our main event. This is God's Eye, consistent of Ami Sourei, Saki Kashima, Suri, and Mirai, taking on the entire full force of DDM, Maika, Tekla, Mai Sakurai, and Julia. Now keep in mind, I'm sure, as you know, Maika is still not over the fact that she won't forgive Zuzu for her transparency, what's been taking place. However, you probably would say that maybe DDM does have what it takes to hold on, but many people expect that maybe Maika will betray Julia one way or the other. But in this case, it didn't happen that way because it was Mai Sakurai who in fact picked up the win with the diving elbow on Kashima. However, during a post-match promo, as you know, Mai Sakurai is in tag league. She is scheduled to team up with Mirai, and she goes out blabbing her mouth saying that she will win tag league. However, as you know, Julia and Tekla are in fact in as a tag team as Mafia Bella, claiming they're going to win tag league. And of course, we do see Maika, who said that she's teaming with Megan Bayne, and they're claiming. So basically, all three sides are saying who's going to win. However, I did state it on day one of the Goddesses Tag League that I do see some potential teams there. Now, the team that I pick as my number one is Saki Kashima and Suri. Now, they're my fan favorite because of the storyline they've been building up with them. However, but I do see, of course, a second pick for me, and that would be Maika and Megan Bayne, known as Divine Kingdom. So there are the only two teams that I would say most that are like the possibility of winning tag league. But we still got a long way to go since this is just the first stages. But until then, we'll see what happens on day 2. But for now, let's move on to the next review, and that is NWA. Okay, NWA Powerrr. As you know, we're jumping in very closely to Samhain, their next pay-per-view on the 28th of this month. However, things can go either way different from what direction we're taking until we get there. Now, EC3 opened up the entirety with a video talking about, of course, his opponent at Samhain for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, Tom Latimer. Now, some people may have questioned EC3 about a while back. If you guys remember, when EC3 first appeared, he was telling Tom Latimer to control your narrative. Try to act like he thinks that he knows exactly what he's talking about. However, we often ask ourselves, why didn't EC3 finish them off with the chair? Well, it looks more like he's saying that, of course, he let him live for some specific reason, because he believes now that Tom Latimer is challenging for the NWA World Heavyweight title has come full circle. But we'll see what happens when we get there. Now, our first match of the day, we do have, of course, the Pick Your Poison match. As you know, there's been a lot of animosity between La Rebelión, Mecha Wolf, and Bestia 666, taking on the brothers from Construction, Yabo the Clown, and Rufo. However, also their managers are involved in this as well. Vampiro, who represents La Rebelión, and Violent J with Construction. Now, the Pick Your Poison match is, of course, whoever wins will pick up the stipulation at Samhain. So, as you know, the Brothers of Construction has been nothing but a pure problem towards the La Rebelión, costing them matches. So this is more of like, a war between them. But however, who will be most likely to win? We know that, they both want to win the stipulation, but of course, there was going to be a lot of distractions coming in every direction, of course. But however, it was Yabo the Clown that picked up the win with the inside cradle. So that means the Brothers of Construction will have a stipulation. But we haven't heard yet what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if that stipulation will be announced next week. Now, as you know, Camille had her things to say towards EC3 a few weeks ago about how he was, politicking with the boss man, which is, of course, William Patrick Corgan, saying that he lost his mind, and, of course, all this and that. But, of course, EC3 considers Camille a demon, doing that. She is supporting her husband. Now, keep in mind, Camille is the longest reigning NWA Women's Champion. So now that she has lifted off her shoulders, she wants to focus on her husband, Tom Latimer, to win the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So, basically, that's what's going to take place. So, Camille has a lot of things to say towards him. So, you probably can guess why. Now, as you know, we did saw EC3 earlier. He was interviewed with Sam Laterna, talking about seems that he has has someone on his sights, more like maybe teaming up, and that is Jordan Clearwater. So basically, it seems like a partnership is being developed. I don't know, but we will see where that takes them. Now, our next match, this is more of a bit of a warm-up between both before Tom Latimer. Before we head to Samhain, he faced against Kyle Laksamana. You probably can guess this match would have fallen in favor with Tom Latimer, which it kind of did, but however, Kyle's manager, forgot her name, got involved, but later, of course, Camille speared her, but it was, of course, a sitting down powerbomb by Tom Latimer to pick up the win. I'm sure this is a direct message to EC3, but if I was EC3, I definitely would pay attention to Tom Latimer, see what is gonna do. Now, our next interview is with, of course, Father James Mitchell. Now, as you know, there's been a lot of animosity with Father James Mitchell towards Gags the Gimp and Sal the Pal. So, however, Judias and Maxi Impaler will team up to take on Sal and Gags. However, the obvious question did remain. Even though Sam knew this was going to be a question that maybe Father James Mitchell will not be honest about, but he said that, that if somehow, for some reason, if they able to pull it off, that They will it will be, if Sal and of course Gags win, then it'll be more bygones and bygones. But of course, Father James Mitchell doesn't believe that's going to happen. Basically, they think it's still going to be hopeless for them. But we'll see what happens at Samhain. Now, at the podium, we do see Ruthie James being interviewed by Kyle Davis. As you know, Ruthie James does have an opportunity at Samhain to face, of course, our current NWA Women's Champion, Kenzie Page. Now, Ruthie James is well aware of the kind of person Kenzie Page could be, but we'll see what happens until then. Now, Gags the Gimp and Gags, Sal the Pal and Gags the Gimp actually responded to, of course, what Father James Mitchell. Of course, there was one that I kind of alluded that, of course, if somehow Sal and Gags defeat Judas and Max, apparently they will be allowed back into the fold. However, Sal thought, we respectfully decline. So it looks like that they have no interest in returning. So that's a very interesting comment for him, but I don't know exactly what Father James Mitchell would say. We just got to wait and see, because he will probably give his response towards that. Now, our next match is a championship match. We have the NWA Women's World Television title on the line in a 605 match. MJ Perkins versus Maxine Paler. You probably would have thought, Megan, MJ is a very powerhouse wrestler. If you guys ever seen her, I've seen her before. But however, it was Maxine Paler with a very big lariat when Jenkins got off the turnbuckle, and boom, just like that, knocked her out. So this is victory number 1 for Max. For Max, she only has 6 more wins to go until she decides to cash in to get the title that she wants, and that is, of course, the NWA Women's Championship. But we'll see what happens until she gets all 7 victories. Now, our next interview with Sam Latourneau, this was requested by the Southern Six. However, Thrillbilly Cyrus has no concerns over who's going to be the number 1 contender, the challenger for the national championship. However, that's what he says. He doesn't believe that they have what it takes to defeat him, but we just got to wait and see. However, Kerry Moran decided to say that they have something in mind. They're willing to open the doors to wrestlers in the indies, basically trying to prove that they run the wrestling business. So, who is going to be, we don't know where they're going to go, but that's something we're definitely going to pay close attention to. Now, back in the podium with Kyle Davis, we do have all members of Pretty in Power, the current NWA Women's Tag Team Champions, Ella Envy and Kylie Page, along with, of course, the NWA Women's World Champion, Kenzie Page. Now, you probably can guess that they're not too concerned, thinking that, these women are going to defeat in Pretty in Power to retain the title. Now, I mean, I would see, of course, for the NWA Women's Championship, Taylor Rising and Tala Markova maybe taking the tag titles, but the Women's World Championship, I highly doubt it. But, however, Pretty in Power are confident to believe they will walk out as the champions altogether. But we will see what happens in Samhain. Now, our main event is a number 1 contendership for the NWA National Championship. We have Zion with the Z taking on Chris Adonis. Now, this match ended in a disqualification due by Zion because he went out of control, refuses to listen to the ref's commands, but it cost him the match, giving Chris Adonis the win. However, where the hell was Austin Idol? I mean, he probably would have made sure this match would have fallen in his favor, but we'll see what happens until then. But for now, I think we're done with NWA. It's time to move on with our last and final review, NXT. Okay, NXT. As you know, we're 1 week away for night 1 of Halloween Havoc. It's going to be a blast. However, we start out with the Bada Bing, Bada Boom Tag Team Battle Royal. Now, if you guys aren't familiarized what the rules are for this particular match, it's simple. This is something that Stacks thought about. He did state it. How about have 10 teams face off each other in the ring. However, if one team member gets off the is thrown over the ring, then the entirety of the team is eliminated. But however, the last two teams remaining will restart the match in a tag team setup forum, where it's only with one pinfall. So this is who we did have in the match. We did have the Creed brothers, uh, Humberto and Garza. Who else? The Gallus boys, Chase U. Who else is in it? Oh yeah, OTM. Um, oh yeah, Kemp and Gulak, Jensen and Briggs. You know, I forgot more of the other teams, but yes, they were involved. But however, I can skip ahead what happened before we head to the final two. What happened is the Creed brothers had this match won. However, due to the distraction going on outside the ring, we did see, of course, that the referees were occupied outside. But unfortunately, they eliminated Garza. But however, that wasn't the case. The referees did not see what happened. So basically, Garza and Humberto got away with it by trying to say that they eliminated their opponents. They became one of the last two teams that faced off Chase U. Now, we know Chase U are trying to get back on top and all this. However, we did see Thea and Jay-Z Jane be the cheerleaders to ensure that they win the match. Of course, the family are watching this to see how this match will go. However, the Creed brothers decided to show up to give themselves a little redemption, a little bit of the retaliation for what Garza and Humberto did to cheat their way through. And of course, it did give Chase U the opportunity, Andre Chase, to pick up the win, onto Garza to pick up the win, and they will face, of course, the family at night 2 of Halloween Havoc. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. So we'll see what happens until then. But I wouldn't be surprised if a feud between the Creed brothers against the cousins, Humberto and Garza, that's going to be interesting to see. Now, we did see a video promo with the arrival of Lexis King, or as we know him, Brian Pillman Jr. So he goes out saying that he has no love for his father. So the directioner saying that his father, that he's nothing like his father, don't compare me to him, that sort of thing. But he will be making his appearance in Halloween Havoc. So we'll see about that in the future. Now, Carmelo Hayes comes out in the ring, talking about being a fanboy, meeting The Undertaker and John Cena. But Baron Corbin, who's being a piece of garbage, who doesn't want to hear that kind of crap, decides to get involved. And of course, Dijak gets involved too, because they both are aiming for the NXT Championship. However, Dragunov had something else in mind. Instead of the main event being a 3-way match, he decided to turn it into a 4-way, and the person that was chosen to be involved is none other than Melo's buddy, Trick Williams. Now, Melo has no idea how this was going to happen, but Dijak and Corbin kind of saying, hey, he stabbed you in the back. But of course, Williams said that did not happen that way. So basically, there's been a lot of talks of that. But we will see what happens in the Fatal 4-Way match. Now, as you know, Fallon Henley, who is seeing what's going on in the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament, was giving a bit of advices for the new girls. But however, Tiffany Strand, who acts like Ho and Mighty, thought that they're listening to Henley, who's nothing but a loser. But of course, Tiffany, we all know she was in the finals last year, but she lost to Roxanne Perez. But I'm sure we'll see a feud between those two. Now, our next match, we have one of two of the NXT women's NXT Breakout Tournament. We have Carmen Petrovic taking on Jada Parker. Now, I haven't seen Jada Parker much, but I have seen Carmen Petrovic mostly on NXT Level Up. So I do picture her as one of those wrestlers that does have a good, bright future. I mean, she was very impressive. Not to mention, she pulled off a very impressive submission move to win. So she already advances into the semifinals. I think she will be facing against Lola Vice or Kalani Jordan. I don't know. We'll see. I can't remember that much. Anyway, we do have a very interesting match. We have Tegan Knox versus Lyra Valkyria. Of course, Natalia was earlier before the match to support Tegan Knox. You probably could guess this match was a pretty good one. However, the AEW Women's Tag Team Champions Piper and of course Chelsea showed up out of nowhere to start causing problems. But in this case, because of that, it was the roundhouse kick that knocked out Tegan Knox, and of course, we did see they were getting involved in this. However, we do see how to say Lyra Valkyria giving a lot of promo, and of course Becky Lynch did that. But Becky Lynch did mention that she was hoping to be the opponent that she's been hoping for to face. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, Hayes is in a bit of disbelief what just took place. Now, Williams knows that this is an opportunity for him to shine. So basically, I don't know exactly how the direction of this, but I do see that there is a possibility that the friendship between Hayes and Williams could deteriorate at any given time. But that's till we see it until it happens. Now, as you know, Gigi Dolan has her feud towards Davenport. Davenport feels that this thing between them is not over, but however, as you know, Halloween Havoc shows up. Gigi Dolan decided to do spin the wheel, make the deal. And what she gets to face against, of course, Davenport, a lights out match. So that's going to be a killer match. Now, as you know, it's been a while. We had a couple weeks ago, we did see Von Wagner got crushed in the head by the steel steps by Braun Breaker. Mr. Stone, who has been very close to Von Wagner, is always by his side. So Von Wagner feels frustrated that things are not, his recovery is taking too much. But Mr. Stone is trying to encourage him. Even though Von Wagner was worried about him, that he could have gotten hurt by Braun Breaker. But of course, Mr. Stone wasn't going to stand by and let Braun Breaker get away with it. But of course, we'll see the recovery and, of course, hopefully see Von Wagner back. Now, this is a bit of a payback for what happened last week. Kiana James decides to get a little piece of payback towards Shotzi for what she caused last week. As you know, Roxanne Perez lost to Asuka, but Kiana James, who had enough of her, decided to take matters in her own hands, but it was Shotzi who decided to take matters in her own hands and stop her, which she did. But in the end, of course, Roxanne Perez showed up, found some bricks in the damn purse that Kiana James uses. And then, of course, Shotzi pulled an Eddie on Kiana James, and the referee saw that. But it didn't do any favors for Kiana James because, of course, she lost by the senton onto Shotzi and won the match. Now, during an interview match, apparently, we were supposed to be seeing the full force of the metaphor. Apparently, Noam Dar took Jakara Jackson to the hospital. Only Lash Legend and Mensa Ora were remaining. However, Akira Tosawa, who is searching for Dar, I wouldn't take a genius that he probably want to have a crack at him for the NXT Heritage Cup, but we'll see what happens. But however, apparently Mackenzie got word that Trick Williams was attacked out of nowhere, but it was later revealed that he was pulled out of the match. It's still unclear who attacked him. Now, there are two most likely scenarios for me in this storyline that could go. One is probably Carmelo Hayes attacked him, or two, after what happened last week with, of course, Dominic losing to Dragunov, I wouldn't be surprised if Judgment Day had something to do with that. So those are two likely scenarios. What do you guys think? Do you think it was Melo who did it because he inserted himself in the NXT Championship picture, or was it retaliations by Judgment Day? You guys leave that comment down below and you tell me. Now, of course, Dom gets another interview with Mackenzie towards about Nathan Frazier. Of course, Nathan Frazier shows up, and this whole thing turned into a brawl from the back all the way to the ring. And of course, Mommy wasn't there, but Mommy did show up to save Dom Dom. So sooner or later, Dom will probably have to lose the North American title. Now, back in the backstage, we do see Roxanne with Shotzi talking about this whole thing with Kiana James. However, Roxanne decided to do the spin the wheel, make the deal, and the type of match that Kiana James will be involved with Roxanne is a Devil's Playground match. So basically, let's see how this one works. We know how violent Roxanne can be now. We have seen her; she takes great lengths to pick up the win. Now, our next match is, of course, we continue with more of the first round NXT Women's Breakout Tournament match. We have Ariana Grace taking on Brixley Reese. I don't know who she won, but I can tell you who she is. But I can tell you that, of course, Ariana Grace won this match just like that, by a pinfall. Now, Braun Breaker was in the interview, and then, of course, as you know how things have been going. However, Mr. Stone decided to confront him. But, of course, Braun Breaker has no interest of what's going on with Von Wagner because he proven his point. But sooner or later, Braun will have his day against, of course, Von Wagner. Now, our main event features the #1 contendership for the NXT title. We have, of course, Baron Corbin, Carmelo Hayes, and Dijak. So basically, these, as you know, Carmelo Hayes, who's determined to win back the NXT title. We do have Baron Corbin, who feels that he deserved this title. But, of course, Dijak gets involved as well. But, however, there was a bit moment. The best moment I did like about this match is, of course, Baron Corbin applied the end of days on Dijak, and of course, Carmelo has applied the nothing but net onto Corbin, but pit Dijak, becoming the #1 contender. But, however, while this match was ended, we do see Lyra Valkyria in the back, who is determined to win the NXT Women's Championship for Becky Lynch. But something has happened the moment Lyra Valkyria left. We see a picture, a video shot of Jade Cargill going, basically, time is almost up. So we'll see what that means. So don't forget, next week it's Halloween Havoc. We're all excited for that. So for now, we'll just end our reviews from here and move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So this is what we have, what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. First things first, I want to give congratulations to Julia Hart and her new husband and fellow wrestler as well, Lee Johnson. So they just officially got married. So congratulations, guys. So as you know, right now, Lee Johnson and Julia Hart will be taking a break from AEW. We don't know when they'll be back. But Lee Johnson did mention that they'll be taking an extended honeymoon break. So it's still no clear when, but I hope they do come back better than ever before. Just enjoy married life, guys, and we'll be waiting for you to come back. Moving on. Now, as you know, I mentioned for months, we now see a brand new partnership between Oregon-based promotion Prestige Wrestling and, of course, Yoshi Promotion, Tokyo Yoshi Pro Wrestling. Now, they did announce a while back, not too long ago, maybe a couple of months in the summer, we did see that they announced for an upcoming event where we're going to see the collaboration between these two companies called Combat Princess USA that will take place in LA at the Globe Theater on the 14th of December. I did announce that Mizuki will be involved in this show, and now they announce, of course, the Pink Striker, Miyu Yamashita, will be there. So if any subscribers are from the LA area, then you guys will be there to see the Pink Striker. Now, GCW has announced for 2 upcoming events in December taking place. The first one will be in Hartford, Connecticut. The show is called Come On, Dude. And this one will be on December 2nd. And then a few days later, we do see another one in LA at the Ukraine Culture Center. The highest in the room, too. This one will take place on the 9th of December. Now, our final update, two things have taken place. As we speak, by the time this video is already out, it's already happened. Suri Minatsu is celebrating her 10th anniversary. Apparently, Stardom announced this on their Twitter page. This will take place in Jujuku Face. Don't know the extent of this match, but I will find more information. I'm not 100% sure if I'll be able to see it, but we'll see about that. But however, in regarding of Stardom updates here, as you know, Stardom are planning to make an expansion to get their product exposed to different locations. Two countries have been named, Thailand and Singapore. Now, I did mention that Natsupoi has been nominated as the ambassador for the Bushiroad Expo in Thailand. So, as the reason she was nominated due is because she's currently taking a rest from wrestling due to her cervical hernia that she suffered. But she's not out of wrestling yet. She's just taking some rest until she's ready to recover. But however, more information has been announced for the Bushiroad Expo in Thailand that will take place this month on the 21st of October. They announced a couple of matches that will be taking place there. The first one is from Jenny, who I've seen recently in Choco Pro. Forgot to mention her name in the last review I did with them. She'll be involved, and she'll be in a match against resident wrestler from Setup. What's her name? Matcha, who is the only female in the Thailand promotion Setup. So that's interesting that now we're seeing the women wrestlers from Thailand get involved. But that's pretty cool. However, they did announce for a special tournament in Bangkok. This is the first round taking place. Two matches have been announced. We do have Mina Shirakawa taking on Yuna Mizumori. And of course, we got Sudi taking on Waka Tsukiyama. Now, I don't know if there'll be more matches announced for this, but I'm pretty sure they will be because they are expanding to Thailand. So we'll see about that. And I think that's pretty much it what we have for our news updates. I believe it's time to call it a day. Okay, so hope everybody enjoys this episode. As you know, for the next one, we will feature AEW Dynamite. However, there are still some shows I haven't seen that I haven't reviewed yet. I do have, of course, the Wrestling Revolver shows, Warrior Wrestling, a few others that I haven't got through, but I'll try to do those if possible. However, I may have to do only maybe somewhere between 2 or 3 reviews for the next episode. Reasons behind that, for about a while now, I've been cutting it short due to my time from my regular day job. But we'll see what happens, because the reason is I go in way early in the morning, like around 5:30 in the morning to check in. But I'm not sure yet exactly how I'm going to do. AEW Dynamite is a priority on the next episode, so that's something that I have thought about. But we'll see what happens. If I'm able to squeeze in maybe 2 into it, we'll see. But if I'm unavailable to do that, we'll just stick with the 2 at the moment. But if there's any news updates we definitely going to be throwing out, then I will be putting that. So I think that's pretty much it right now, what we have for this episode. I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.